Network Security Basics, let's begin. So the first part of this class, like I said, I wanted to go over the concepts, the business drivers behind network security in the first place, and talk to you about a lot of the organizations that are out there that you're going to be dealing with whenever it comes to network security. And so whenever a company has an objective to do something, I want to take you through why they may have that objective, and then the motivations behind it, and then where your role comes in as the engineer, right? So anyway, network security is the protection of information systems and hardware that use, store, and transmit information. It scales way beyond just file servers and network equipment, okay? It also scales to processes, people, and all different types of things, as you're going to see. And network security encompasses those steps that are taken to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of those data or resources, right? And so the National Security Telecommunications and Information Systems Security Committee, the NSTISSC, was founded as an open forum to discuss these things, these matters of intelligence. And this is one of the directives that was put forth by George Bush. And this is one of the reasons why network security has been on the rise, okay? So we're going to learn more about them, what they do, as well as several other organizations as we go forward. So there is an evolving need for network security, and network security experts continue to be in high demand, largely to businesses have began to rely on network systems, right? So this is, I mean, since the 90s, companies have began more and more to rely on network systems, and nowadays with everything cloud, the big buzzword of cloud, companies are starting to put all of their important information out on the internet and securing it or putting security policies around it, but that way it makes it available to all of the correct parties involved, the company itself, the employees, partners, business partners, alliance partners, all of that kind of stuff. It offers a great flexibility to do those kind of things, to use cloud services. However, it opens up new doors for potential loss of service and attacks, all different types of things. So another thing that's caused the rise in network security is always-on cheap connectivity worldwide. So it's not just certain areas that have broadband internet cheap now. It's everywhere. And so with that cheap broadband, you see more things headed to the cloud because everybody has fast enough speeds to access it there, right? And I already said it makes it universally available. So cybercrime continues to grow at an alarming rate. This is the identity theft victims, right, in the last few years. You can see there was a decrease in 2010, but everything's continued to rise since then. 2014 was no exception. And simplicity of launching threats, you know, it no longer takes a freaking genius from MIT to launch a pretty effective attack on somebody's infrastructure, okay? You're going to learn about several systems that are out there to allow people to easily launch sophisticated attacks with really no understanding of the underlying technology and why people put that out there in the first place. Okay, and also how you can use these things to make sure that people can't use that against you, right? Those tools against you. And the sophistication of the threats continue to rise. People constantly find new creative ways to use older technology and, you know, kind of use those little components that were put into technology and originally to be a tool against us. Okay, so we'll take a look. Yeah, perfect intro to the Heartbleed bug, okay? Heartbleed bug is attacking over 60% of websites today. This is in April of 2014. And, you know, the thing is that, you know, these crimes and these hacking attacks that are out there, it's not just people from the US, it's not just people from any given region, it's a worldwide thing. And with the connectivity of the global internet and like I said, worldwide broadband, then these attacks can be very severe in any area, any corner of the world now. And companies lose revenue because of it. There's a direct impact to corporations' bottom line, as well as governments and agencies and all that's bottom line because of network security. And not just the incidents themselves, but all the protection that's put in place, the planning, the procedures, and the products that are put in place to help mitigate those attacks. But it's just, now that everything is based on, networking and IP and everything, there's a lot to cover, there's a lot to secure, right? Also, loss of proprietary formulas and procedures, that's very damaging for businesses. Loss of customer trust. Take the Target incident, for example. Target has lost lots of sales and trust of customers because of the data breach whenever people stole the credit card information from their cash registers. And so, that was one of those things that people did just by kind of observing the workflow from Target. And they launched attacks inside the stores. More and more companies are offering free wireless services, and they're getting into these things of BYOB and providing connectivity to everybody. It's a great idea, but you also have to secure that connectivity, right? And then a threat to environmental safety. I'll talk more about that later, but if you attack the correct places, one of the things we're worried about with cybersecurity today is not just the theft of data, but it's the impending or preventing our infrastructure from supporting us, right? So electrical grids, power grids, water supplies, all of those things. So that also brings in threats to national security, okay? So lots going on. I'll talk more about Heartbleed as we go on. I just wanted to give you an example there, okay? So this is recent security threats. And this was Heartbleed. Actually, I'm going to talk to you more now about Heartbleed, but this was major websites that were affected by Heartbleed. So if you look at this, look, we got Facebook and Instagram. We've got Twitter and Vine, Pinterest, and all of these had personal information. They had credit card information as well. You've got things like Twitter and YouTube that had credit card information as well. And so, you've got LinkedIn and SlideShare, they were okay. But that, this was Heartbleed affected OpenSSL, which is, an open source SSL service that is used to secure things, right, for web, for SSL certificates. And since it affected that and everybody used it, it affected a lot of people at once. Financial institutions, thankfully, don't rely on open source for SSL and security, but all of these other services that are based on, free services to people, they're going to use open source technologies that potentially have those vulnerabilities. And it's not that the non-open source technologies don't have those vulnerabilities, because they do too. It's just that this was something that was really kind of a rude awakening for a lot of people. Even things like Dropbox and Amazon. All of those guys. This is still an ongoing major, concern that affects a lot of people because it affects the security certificates that deal with these major websites. So it's a really big deal. I'll talk more about the mechanics of what it does a little bit later. We just kind of wanted to show you. So, this the green lock basically means these sites are safe, okay? And the gold shield means that your information is safe. All these other sites, though, Gmail, YouTube, Google, the list goes on. Pretty big deal with Heartbleed, right? Okay, and so global commerce equals global threats. These are the top 10 countries from where attacks originated from September through February 2012 to 2013. Just kind of shows you it's a global issue. It's not a local issue, right? So Germany's on the top of the list, followed by the Russian Federation, followed third place, United States, right? So we've got a pretty good percent of the pie over here. Okay, then followed by the Netherlands, Latvia, United Kingdom, and so you see it kind of goes on and on. So it's a number of places. It's not just any one country who's to blame, although Germany does have, very large portion, very large part of that pie. And if you combine that with the Russian Federation, then that's 50%. But still, you see the other countries still play a major role and impact for, threats, okay? All right, and these are the trend of threats. This is the most prevalent, things that are going out there. So viruses, worms, spyware, and other malicious programs account for 66% of current threats that are out there. Spam is closely followed with 61%. Phishing attacks is about 36%. Network intrusion, hacking is actually only 24%. Theft of mobile devices, smartphones, tablets is 21%. Denial of service and distributed denial of service attacks are 19%. Theft of larger hardware is 17. Corporate espionage involving people, not IT systems, 13, which is something you still have to consider. Corporate espionage is still a major concern, okay? And it actually, a lot of times, even though there's not as much compared to these other types of attacks, it could be much, much more damaging, because a lot of times you may be trying to protect against somebody who is authorized to be using your network, and that's a different story, okay? Most of the time, we've all kind of grown up hearing protect the edge, the side of your network that's out there facing the public. However, there's a lot of damage that can be done on the inside of your network without the proper protections in place. So I'm going to be talking about those and a lot more coming right up.